we tell our clients that all you have to do is focus on finding the property and closing on the property in whatever way is going to get you the best financing. You pick up the phone, you call us, email us. We take care of everything from there.
This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I have my good friend Scott Smith on the line, and he's right down the road in Austin, Texas, and he's got a legal mind. He has a legal mind that focuses on asset protection, taxes, and just overall profitability and staying away from the bad guys. So we're going to talk to Scott about series LLCs and anonymity. Oh, just makes my mouth water. Series LLCs and anonymity. Now, you think I'm joking that this makes my mouth water? It doesn't. I'm not joking. I mean, because when you're in business long enough and you do enough volume, you find some nuts out there. I'm talking about some super nut bags. I don't care who you are. I don't care how nice you are. I don't care how fair you are. There's some nut bags out there. And we're going to talk to Scott about how to maybe insulate ourselves from some of it. The guy's a brilliant mind. I love talking to him. Hey, Scott, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's fantastic to be here on the show. I think I have some exciting information for everybody about what you can do to really protect yourself in the modern era. I mean, things have really come a long way from just basic LLCs. And the reality of the situation is that a lot of people think that they're just nice people and that they're honest, that lawsuits won't happen to them. And that's just completely wrong. Nice people get sued and they get screwed every single day. And it's jobs for attorneys like myself to come in to help educate everybody, especially real estate investors, since I'm a real estate investor myself, about how to make sure you never get screwed.
So where do you start this? We're going to talk about series LLCs and anonymity and the basic theme of, not getting sued or being in a great position if you happen to get sued. So where do you start? Scott,
the first place to start is like who actually needs asset protection, right? And so typically what I'm looking at is say anybody that has more than $50,000 in assets that are exposed automatically becomes a target because you just happen to have enough money to come after. Less than that, an attorney is thinking on the other side, they're probably not going to get paid and you're not going to be sued because of it. So what we look at is say if you have more than $50,000 and you have, any particular pieces of real estate, one or more properties, and you're going to be looking at trying to say, okay, well, now that I've advertised to the world, because I have these properties in my name, where exactly all my money is and where to come after it, does that expose me to enough risk to think that I want to protect it? So a lot of my clients are saying, yep, you know what? I don't want to have assets in my name. I don't want it to be public information about where all of my money is and how much I have. So what I'd like to do is set up a series LLC structure for asset protection. And I want to hide my ownership and the ownership of the assets themselves with anonymity trust, which is entirely possible to do. It's all completely legal. It's all above board. There's no special, magic to it, right? It's just about learning how to use the good legal tools, that the blessed Texas legislature gave us, that to establish a company here with the Series LLC and with anonymity trust, that we can actually create here and we can use it anywhere we want to, anywhere in the United States.
Great. So is this an expensive proposition?
No, it's just a few $1,000s to be able to set up. The types of protections before to have this type of compartmentalization of assets and the anonymity, you'll find other firms even right now that are doing it the old way that has cost like $10,000 to $15,000. We're much, much less at Royal Legal Solutions because of that. Gives us a market advantage. I mean, we have over 1,000 clients all across the United States, people living everywhere, investing everywhere. And our growth is attributable to that fact that we can set up systems for you that, keep costs down, that keep your everything streamlined with inside of one company and one bank account with one EIN number, but with the highest possible protections you can legally get.
Right. And is it the kind of thing when you add a new property, you can do it yourself, or do they have to go to you every time they add a new property?
Listen, I don't have any magic in here that makes an attorney special over anybody else. Anybody can actually do my job if they know how. I give all of my clients all of the forms, when they set everything up. So anybody can do what I do. After they have the initial setup, moving forward on their own. What we do offer everybody, though, is the opportunity to take advantage of what I think is a very unique thing that we do, which is we tell our clients that all you have to do is focus on finding the property and closing on the property in whatever way is going to get you the best financing. You pick up the phone, you call us, email us. We take care of everything from there. We take the asset, we transfer it into the company structure, we compose a new land trust. We take care of all of the maintenance of the entity for you to ensure that you're never going to do anything that's going to allow the compliance to fall behind the LLC. We do a twice yearly review with every single one of our clients to ensure they're not piercing the corporate veil or otherwise running their entity incorrectly. And once you're a member of the firm, you actually get unlimited, continuous, and ongoing legal support by phone or email, absolutely for free. It's all included inside of your monthly membership. So never having to turn to the internet or to a forum or random articles online, you can always pick up and get an answer directly from a professional. And we charge such a reduced rate from what the other larger companies are charging right now, that it's really just gave us a huge amount of growth. Even just in the last 6 months, I think we've tripled in size.
So this is really, really, really interesting to me. But I want to go ahead and talk about your rates, but I'll just put the disclaimer in for you. I mean, Scott Smith and his company has a right to change his prices anytime you want to. But we're having a conversation today on, the end of July 2018, because a part of what really needs to be heard is how affordable this really is. Because I know for a fact that I've shied away from a ton of asset protection seminars and stuff because I know they're going to want 15, 20, 25,000 bucks from me, and I'm just don't even want to go into the conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which may be smart or maybe not smart on my part, but I think if it was affordable, I think everyone should do it. Do you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, I don't have any hidden secrets to this stuff because what I offer is so dynamic that I don't need to play hide the ball with it. So I can say our typical client is the typical fees are going to be around $3,000 to $5,000 total. I mean, that all in, right? Including all the fees to produce all the documents, filing fees, operating agreements, deeds, trusts, everything that's needed from start to finish. It's usually somewhere in that range of it. The biggest piece I find is a stumbling block for people is almost never the money. Right? Money is almost never really the problem when it prevents people from taking action on what they need to do. Most of the time, it's actually a belief that, one, they need it, and two, that it works. The biggest part about, say, one, do I need it, is the biggest misconception we have is that people think that their insurance coverage is actually enough. What they don't understand is that insurance only covers you against negligence, and it doesn't cover you against any of the other types of liability. Like when you sell a property, if somebody sues you for fraud or for breach of contract, or you get into a car accident that exceeds the limits of liability of your insurance policy, all of those are areas where the insurance that you think that you had protect you actually doesn't do anything at all. And what you really need is the insurance to cover the 80% of things that could go wrong in your life. And then you need an asset holding company that covers the other 20%. So that way the skies can fall. Everything could go wrong in worst possible case scenario. And yet it's just a blip on the radar of a bad experience in your life because you would lose little to nothing in that scenario.
Wow. Sounds very comforting. And you say is there an ongoing maintenance fee or a monthly fee to stay connected?
Yeah, so if for people that want that type of relationship with with an attorney and with a support group like we have, to be able to take care of all of the legal needs for you, so you can offload them completely. Right now, we have some memberships that are as low as $49 a month, and then some premium memberships that are as much as $99 a month. They go into depending upon the level of support that you're needing.
That's terrifically affordable. I mean,
well, I think so.
Don't raise your prices because of me, but I mean, hell, I'm all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is why we have such amazing growth.
A year, at the worst, so.
Because really what it is what we do is what we're set up to do is to be able to allow people to offload everything onto us so that they only have to think about the next great deal that they're going after. And then while they're going after that deal, they don't have to spend a lot of time wasted on research and wondering what to do next. They literally can just pick up the phone, call us, and we're like, oh, this is the next steps you need to take, or this is the actual considerations that are going on with what you need to be doing. So it's actually, it's actually so much more than just a legal service. It's actually like an investor support service.
Hey, so, because you deal in taxes and investment advice as well. You're not just legal advice, but I guess as it pertains to investment and taxes, I mean, there's a lot of legalese and all of that. So, give me a case study.
Yeah. So we recently had one with a client of mine, as she was doing flipping properties. And this is a classic example of somebody who thought that they were just a good, nice, honest person, so nothing wrong could ever happen to him. But luckily, she had set up an asset holding company using a series LLC structure. And what happened in this case is that she ended up flipping a property and replacing all of the plumbing that was underneath the house. The buyer sent an email to her and said, "Hey, what plumbing underneath the house have you replaced?" Her response email said, "All of the plumbing has been replaced." So, as luck would have it, 6 months later, there's a leak in some of the plumbing that's in the second story and causes $75,000 plus in damages to the residents. And now there's a conversation about a dispute that arises around, "You defrauded me. You told me all of the plumbing in the house was replaced. That plumbing in the second story wasn't replaced." He said, no. What I meant was all of the plumbing that was underneath the house was replaced. You have to read them in context. Well, that kind of story is enough to survive all the way to a jury and would have ended up in a massive settlement, likely, in that scenario. However, what they didn't know before they started talking to me was that the asset had been sold out of Series A, out of the Series LLC. So when they looked to sue, the only person that they could have sued in this transaction was Series A, because that was the one that sold them the asset. Series A didn't own anything anymore. Series A was an empty entity. All the money had got distributed. So the lawsuit they would have had is against an empty entity, just like an empty LLC.
Oh, man, that makes me very happy.
So the whole lawsuit got dropped, Mitch. It's like a $75,000 lawsuit, like legitimately probably would have been a $30,000 plus settlement.
All right, you're coming to my ranch. Okay? You're coming.
It's such a phenomenal tool, because with the Series LLC, you can create one parent company that can create an infinite number of child series into it, right? So you have a parent company of child series A, child series B, child series C. They're all free to create. So for creating one parent company, now you can create an infinite number of companies right on your own desktop. There's no filing fees or anything like that.
So I thought like a series LLC only went up to like 20 companies. Is that not true?
No, it's infinite. It goes to the numbers of the alphabet. You can go for forever.
There's not a lot of case study in series LLCs, so we're kind of going in the gray, aren't we, in some of this?
Yeah, so over 20 years, nobody has tried to challenge it, even though it's been involved in thousands of lawsuits and people got paid out massively if they could have challenged it successfully. Nobody's even tried. Some people say that makes it weak because there's no case law for us to quote unquote know what would happen. I tend to rely on the fact to say, well, if the people we're going to get paid didn't do it and they didn't try to challenge it and they had the opportunity, well, I'm going to feel like that's pretty safe, that nobody's going to be challenging it here over 20
years. You must feel like they can't win.
Yeah, there's nothing to win on, because when the laws are clear, like they are for the Series LLC, there's nothing to challenge, because a case law can only interpret what the law is. So when you have clear laws, there's nothing to go against.
Okay, very good.
Some law school 101 there for you, Mitch. Anybody else that wants to nerd out on legal, I'm here for you.
Well, I've been very lucky. I've been very lucky. In 1,500 transactions, 1,500 acquisitions, which means there was also 1,500 sales, which there might have even been half of those might have been a sale and then a note sale. So there might be as many as 4,500 transactions. I've been sued 3 times. Okay, knock on wood. And in all 3 of those times I won, but it cost me $40,000 to win and a ton of anxiety, because the problem was the 3 people that sued me those 3 lawsuits would never happen going forward, because I know exactly who they are and I know exactly what I did to get sued. What I did was I tried to help some degenerate people get a house.
Mm.
And when they wouldn't even pay the stupid $150 a month or whatever it was, then they went and got legal aid, because here's their problem. If they lose that house, SSI and Social Security or whatever government benefits they're getting for being, for lack of better words, a loser, once they get out of the house, the government doesn't send those checks to Bridges. So they put up all this fight. I mean, a tremendous amount of fight. You know what I mean? I got them off the streets. I got them their benefits. I got them everything coming in so that they could pay for it all, and then they didn't pay for it. And so the moral of that story is no good deed goes unpunished. I really hate to be so, jaded, but these days I don't help people get into houses. If I want to do charity work, I'll send the money to the church.
Yeah, I would say charity is the right way to do that. Give the money away is the right way to be able to help other people. And in my opinion, it's just anything else that you're trying to do, you're going to run into problems like that. But it's not just you though, Mitch. I mean, we know like the data shows that over a 20-year period that real estate investors have a 95% chance of being sued. So over a long enough time period, the questions are not like if it's going to happen, it's when and what position we're going to be in to be able to happen. But you're lucky because you actually had the resources to fight this. A lot of my clients are like, okay, well, do I want to spend $3,000 or $5,000 on asset protection to help me prevent from a lawsuit? Well, because really they don't have $20,000 sitting in the bank to go fight a lawsuit like you did. Really,
well,
right?
Here's the scariest part though, Scott. By the time, the second reason it would never happen to me, because I know to settle fast. Before I was standing on principle. There is no principle in the court of law. It's out the window. It's a big extortion game. Who can hold out the longest? It's not even about what's right or wrong or what's fair. And by the time I got to court, you would have thought I was Hitler. I mean, my God, the things I have done in my life that they would just, it was very emotionally difficult because they take and paint a picture that's not even remotely close to who you are or what you are or how you've conducted your life. And then third, I just don't, I vet people a lot harder these days. So there's 3 reasons that those 3 lawsuits wouldn't happen again. It's not to say that another won't happen, but the biggest problem with it all was because I didn't settle fast and early out of principle, by the time it got to the lawyer, they all wanted $1 million, and there was no settling after that. So it was like $1 million lawsuit if I lost. You know what I mean? Which was very uncomfortable at night. I mean, trying to sleep. Because when you start listening to the testimony, you think, these guys are just outright lying about everything to win. They don't care. They see $1 million that they're going to share with the attorney. The attorney is not really concerned that his client's lying. He's just concerning that they lie good enough to be believable so they can win.
Yeah, that's 100% it. I did litigation before I got into asset protection for 2 years, which is what informs what I do for asset protection. And that's 100% the way litigation plays out. Attorneys are paid on commission. And that's what we fight against. We set up company structures that make it so that you can get sued and not even care, because the way the lawsuits are going to be ineffectual. And then we hide all of the assets, so it makes it look like when everybody's looking to sue you that there's nothing there for them to take. Probably one of the issues that you had, Mitch, is that they saw a nice big target for somebody to come after.
Well, now I put everything in a land trust. I think, of course, if someone's going to dig deep enough or long enough, right? But it just wasn't enough. You know what I mean? It just wasn't enough. And I think I've made a lot of concessions in my life because of the fear of a lawsuit, even when I was right. And it's cost me a small fortune to have to always, those 3 lawsuits have scarred me for the rest of my life, because I got in that courthouse and I saw how it was. And it's not even remotely close to the truth of anything. There is no justice at all, as far as I'm concerned, in my 3 cases. And so consequently, it makes me do a lot of things or pay for some things that I really shouldn't have ever paid for. You know what I mean? Because it was plain as day in writing, but you could be right in writing and have a lawsuit and cost you, you know what I mean, $30,000 to win. Whereas if I had done some more or if I do some more preparation in advance, I don't have to be extorted all the time over these things. Because
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think that's ultimately what the right structure setup really should be buying you. It should be buying you that ultimate peace of mind that says, like, when a lawsuit happens, it doesn't ruin my life. It doesn't cause me to age overnight. It doesn't cause me severe anxiety. It doesn't dominate. Like, there's costs to lawsuits that are much greater than the money, and that's the loss of our time and our peace and the amount of energy we're dedicating to our business. I mean, the lawsuit, if let's say it cost you $15,000 in a lawsuit, I bet that it cost you much more, and just your peace of mind, as well as how much revenue you probably lost not being able to dedicate that energy into things that were actually productive for you.
Yeah, that was probably that's probably the thought process behind the write the check early and get it over with and get on with the good stuff, right? Because
that's why you settle, right? It's because you're like, this will just be over. I just want it over. That's what everybody feels like.
Yeah, but it would be nice to say, you know what? Go ahead.
Well, that's the coolest thing, right? That's why we use shell companies with a lot of the business that, for my own personal one, and that's why we put together for all the clients, is that we have all of the active business operations for everybody. It's channeled through a shell company. So then your worst case scenario is you wind down that one shell company and start up a new one, right? And so there's cool legal strategies in there for people to use that are available just to even average investors, to give them like the types of protection, that peace of mind, to be able to live in a way that, they don't have to worry about it. I mean, I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to create with
Okay, so give me a bad case scenario where someone wasn't in the right place and something stupid happened and they lost a lot of money.
Well, I mean, I had one client, a friend of mine, who he lost about $3 million in real estate assets, and from one single lawsuit that he did. And it's because he thought that his insurance was enough to protect him. And it was from an unrelated breach of contract case that happened to him with his business dealings. And coming to find out that they found out where all of his real estate was. It was heavily insured, which is what he was told. He's like, I got liability insurance, I got umbrella insurance, I'm fine. He lost that lawsuit, and much from the same way that you did, that he took a very principled stand. He's like, oh, there's no way I'm going to lose at trial, and then he lost. And so then they started to come through. And when you lose a lawsuit, what happens is the sheriff comes with a piece of paper. And then they're able to start foreclosing on all of your properties until they get paid out whatever money the court said that they owned them. So he ended up losing, $3 million relatively quickly in quick succession. And remember that these are foreclosure prices too, right? So it's not like he's getting fair market value on all the properties that they're seizing and selling either.
Yeah, they don't really care how much they get. Just liquidate next, liquidate next, liquidate next.
And he was very wealthy, right? But he was like that classic guy. I talk to clients every day that sometimes they'll have 40 properties and they have them all in their personal name. And then they're like, oh, that's a lot of money, to be able to spend on asset protection. I was like, well, but isn't the 40 properties you have also a lot of money? I mean, that's a lot more money. Like, can you afford to lose 40 properties just because something happens? Like, what is that? So there definitely is a piece to that.
That's being Pennywise and dollar stupid, huh?
Well, I know you would agree with that, Mitch, because you're conservative and you get to see the picture of knowing, you don't want the whipsaws in life. The whipsaws in life are the ones that actually cause us, I think, to have a lot bigger problems than, if you look at anybody that says that they are doing really high risk investment strategies, those people are always a nervous wreck. I mean, the happiest people are the ones that can say, I'm going to make consistent returns over time. And what does that look like? And asset protection is just one of those pieces that fold into that says, here's, just like you have insurance to protect you if there's a flood or something like that, here's a way to protect yourself from lawsuits. And then that whole risk element, gets removed off the table for you. So you can just have that nice, consistent, lifestyle that comes with your money like that.
All right. So I want the listeners to get out your pencil and paper here real quick. I want you to go get your free consult with Scott. Okay. I want you to get your free consult. How long does this consult usually take, Scott? I mean, I know
usually about 30 minutes.
Okay. Get a free consult, talk to him, get some numbers on a paper, see what it's going to cost you to be able to sleep at night and not worry about lawsuits. And believe me, they can come from anywhere. It doesn't have to be your fault per se. It could be a little misstep or a misunderstanding of what you meant to say and what they heard. It happens all the time. I want you to go to reinvestorsummit.com/royal protection. Royal, ROYAL, protection, PROTECTION. And also, while you're there, go ahead and get the a little synopsis here on the 10 things you need to know to protect your assets. He's going to give you a little outline. Maybe that'll help you. You read that before you get your consult. You'll kind of know what's coming. And man, it's time well spent, brothers and sisters. If nothing else, you don't have to do anything. Scott has never impressed me as a high-pressure guy. I think he's just going to tell you what he thinks. He's going to give you a price, and then you can make up your mind. He's not going to send any guys over there to beat you up if you don't sign up or anything. So,
yeah, I don't need to actually. We actually are growing so fast right now that I'm really okay if you decide that you don't need to be a client. We actually do a really great job, I think, in the consult. What everybody should expect is, we talked about some high-level concepts today about the series LLC. How does that work with land trusts? And there's inherently some issues that are coming along with, what do we do for insurance and banking and taxation? All of those pieces fall into it. All of those are all included in type of the consult education. Whenever you sign up for a consult, we're going to go over that in a half hour. We also send you 40 minutes of training videos on all of those topic areas. So even before you meet with me, you're going to have a really deep knowledge of how all this works and how it would work for you. So then during the 30 minutes, we can really just dive into all the nitty gritty details of your particular situation.
Very good. Very good. So any last words you want to send out to the investors out there, newbies and veterans alike, before maybe we wrap it up here today, Scott?
Yeah, the only things I'd like to say just in closing on this one is whether you have 0 properties and you're looking to jump into the game, or you're somebody that has 50 plus, single and multifamily properties, you're looking to do. Everybody is somebody that I want to talk to, because I'm about trying to create lifelong relationships with people about how with systems that are going to help them grow and stay protected as they do it. Wherever you're at, give us a call. We'll be able to talk with you, and so that way you can select an option for you that's going to make sense for whatever your goals are.
Well, very good. And I really think that you're onto something here, and obviously because you're growing so fast, it's hard to keep up.
We can still take on more. We just hit 43 people into the company. So we're happy to take on more, but it's always just one of those funny things. Whenever you stumble across something in life where everybody that hears about it seemingly is like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard of, and I got to have some.
Well, good. What else do you want out of life? That's good. I'm glad your business is doing well, and you're also helping people, and I appreciate that very much too, because it's what we try to do. We try to, do good while doing well. You know what I mean? To quote Lou Brown's book, do good while doing well and serve people. And believe me, this is not to be used. I know Scott well enough to say, if he thinks that you're going to be using this for evil, he doesn't want you as a client. We're trying to just do this to protect ourselves from evil people. So
that's right.
We're not using this kind of asset protection to go out and screw people over, because I don't think that no matter what you do, if that's the way you live your life, eventually you're going to have to pay, one way or the other. So I appreciate your business and what you do, Scott, and thanks for being on the show. This is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. If you want to help me out, go ahead and give us a 5-star review anywhere, Stitcher, iTunes. I don't know. Go to Amazon, find my books, give me a 5-star review, whatever. If you think that I'm the right guy for you in coaching you through your real estate growth spurts, or through get you to the next level, then go ahead and call 1-800-551-7807. Talk to Bo there, and if it sounds like we might be a good fit, we're going to set up a conversation between you and I personally and make sure, because again, just like Scott's out there trying to help people, I don't want to take on any clients that I don't think I can help. If I don't think I can help you, I'll tell you, or we'll bust it down to a level that we both agree that you're ready for, and not something over your head. So again, that's 800-551-7807, or just email Mitch at 1000houses.com. And maybe I can be your coach or mentor in the future. This is Mitch Stephen. Thanks for stopping by to get you some Scott Smith over there, and go to reinvestorsummit.com/royal protection to get your free consult and to learn about the 10 things you need to know to protect your assets. I guess we're done for the day. We're out of here.